the most intriguing theories suggests that all of Antarctica is a massive and unethical weapons testing site. According to this theory, the reason Antarctica is so off-limits isn't because of environmental concerns, but because world leaders are working with brilliant but immoral scientists. Together, they're supposedly creating unimaginable weapons, from explosives far deadlier than the largest nuclear bombs, to brain implants or chemicals in our water that could make people blindly loyal to the elite. Imagine the scariest weapons you can think of. They're either already in Antarctica or being developed there. This idea is terrifying, especially when you consider how governments have a history of using secret locations to test dangerous weapons. Number 5. Astonishing new bacterium. Scientists have made an astonishing discovery in Antarctica, a new type of bacteria that can survive solely on instant freezing and thawing. These bacteria manage to thrive. This discovery raises fascinating questions. How can these organisms live without traditional energy sources like sunlight? To investigate, scientists collected soil samples from 2 ice-free areas in Antarctica, Robinson's Ridge and Adams Flat. These locations were chosen because they lack the usual microbial food sources. Through detailed genetic analysis, researchers mapped out the DNA of 23 different microbes found in the soil. They identified 2 new groups of bacteria named WPS2 and 83. What surprised the scientists the most was how efficiently the dominant bacteria could extract hydrogen and carbon monoxide from the air, enough to sustain themselves. These bacteria flourish in an environment without sunlight, geothermal energy, or nutrients. Number 4. Ghost mountains. When we think of mountains, we imagine tall peaks reaching high into the sky to affect sea levels. Scientists using radar and gravity sensors set out on a unique mission to map the Gomburtsev subglacial mountains. They expected to find a flat area, but instead found a landscape full of peaks and valleys, much like the European Alps. Fausto Ferraccioli, a geophysicist from the British Antarctic Survey, noted that these untouched jagged peaks indicated that the ice sheet had rapidly formed, preserving the rugged landscape beneath up to 2.5 miles of ice. This discovery opens a new chapter in understanding how ice sheets behave. Geologically, mountain ranges like the Alps and the Himalayas form when continents collide. Antarctica's last collision with other landmasses happened about 500 million years ago. The intriguing part for researchers is that while the Alps are relatively young, being only 50 to 60 million years old, the Gomburtsev mountain range might be as ancient as 500 million years. Number 3. Large portion of the West Antarctic ice sheet. If Thwaites Glacier were to shrink or collapse significantly, it could cause nearby glaciers to flow into the ocean, leading to a rise in global sea levels. The nickname Doomsday Glacier highlights the serious concerns about Thwaites. While scientists aren't sure exactly how quickly or how much sea levels might rise, they know that the glacier is vulnerable. Warm ocean waters are melting its floating ice from below, causing the point where the glacier meets the sea to retreat. Thwaites Glacier is a crucial part of Antarctica, and what happens to it could have big effects on coastal areas all over the world. While it might not single-handedly bring about a doomsday scenario, it serves as a stark reminder of the impacts of climate change. Predicting what will happen to the glacier is a tough challenge, and scientists are working hard to understand the complex processes that control its future. Number 2, the South Sandwich. Makes the South Sandwich Trench interesting is that it lies where 2 huge pieces of Earth's crust meet. Here, the South American plate is sliding under the South Sandwich Plate. This process, called subduction, often leads to earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and other signs of geological turmoil. Because of this, the trench and the area around it are of great interest to scientists who keep studying it to learn more. Exploring the South Sandwich Trench is especially hard because it is in such a remote part of the ocean. The weather there is often harsh, with freezing temperatures and rough seas. This makes it tough for researchers to get there and study it. Its great depth and closeness to the South Sandwich Islands, which are themselves remote and volcanic, mean that much of the trench remains unexplored. Scientists are still curious about what might live in these dark, icy waters. Underwater rivers, also known as subaqueous rivers, are hidden streams stretching over 285 miles and draining into the Weddell Sea. Its existence was revealed using ice-penetrating radar during aerial surveys. What makes this discovery so fascinating is that beneath the thick, seemingly impenetrable ice lies a complex and interconnected river system, thriving as if the layers of ice above were non-existent. As we explore this icy network, we realize the river's catchment area is vast, equivalent in size to France and Germany combined. This raises important questions with potential global implications. The river flows beneath four massive ice streams: the Institute Ice Stream, the Muller Ice Stream, the Support Force Glacier, and the Foundation Ice Stream. As these ice borders retreat, the river emerges from beneath the ice shelf into the Weddell Sea. This under-ice river has the potential to significantly influence our planet's future. Some of these mountains are as tall as Switzerland's famous Matterhorn, reaching nearly 4,000 meters in height. This finding suggests that West Antarctica has a bigger mountain range formed by volcanoes than the more famous volcanic ridges in East Africa. Even though these volcanoes have been inactive for thousands of years, researchers warn that if they become active again, it could have serious consequences for the region. An eruption could make West Antarctica's already fragile ice sheets unstable, causing more ice to move into the sea and speeding up the rise of global sea levels. The study started with an idea proposed by a young student at Edinburgh University, Max Van Wyck. Researchers used radar that can see through the ice to look beneath the ice, finding peaks of rock similar to volcanoes that explorers saw in the past 100 years. Finding 91 volcanoes that no one knew about before meant there were almost 3 times as many volcanoes in West Antarctica as people knew about. These mountains that are under ice less stable and make sea levels go up as the water from the ice goes into the oceans. The researchers know that they are not sure about what these volcanoes have done in the past, but they think that it is worrying. They said that many of the hot places where volcanoes are in the world now used to be covered with ice until not long ago, like Iceland and Alaska, and they have had more volcanoes going off because the ice went away. West Antarctica, which is already getting warmer from climate change and is making the ice less stable, might start to do the same. If there is less ice, there might be less weight on the volcanoes that are asleep, and they might start going off. If that happens, it could make the ice sheets even less stable and make sea levels go up.
There have been 50,000 meteorites that have crashed into Antarctica so far. Footprints in the snow and the slow but steady melting of glaciers over time provided all the proof needed. But Allen Hill's 84 inhabit this suspicious land. Antarctica is the last frontier. It holds our imagination. Here be monsters, proclaimed ancient maps. Antarctica is the last uninhabited continent that might have been so designated. The discovery of this frozen continent 250 years ago left scientists with more questions than answers. But the icy's thickness conceals its surface, thus many questions remain unsolved. The ancient astronaut theory put forth the idea that it is not just the geology that is hidden from us. According to experts, Antarctica is a hub of human and maybe non-human activity. An ancient astronaut theorist proposed that it is not just the geology that is hidden from us. Experts suggest that Antarctica is an epicenter of human and perhaps non-human activity. Furthermore, many believe this area may be some sort of extraterrestrial base. If these theories hold, have consented to submit the data unless his identity could be concealed. That person claimed to have visited along with his team an octagonal structure protruding from the ice. The top structure rose 18 feet from the ice, while the rest was hidden. All the entrance doors were the same. Although the doors looked thick and heavy, a slight push opened the door during the first attempt. At that moment, the outside temperature was minus 40 degrees. However, when they entered inside, the temperature rose to 70 degrees. One thing that took that military person and his team by surprise was that the entire place was lit in a lime green color without any source. Further, the wall was lined with hieroglyphics. Antarctica offers fewer opportunities for excavation due to its physiological isolation from the globe. Surrounded by nearly pure ice, being alive for any length of time becomes an impossibility. Additionally, on typical days, the temperature